All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean again bringing you another video, my trademark, du jour, of role-playing goodness. Today, Storm King's Thunder. I said in one of my previous reviews I was going to do a review of this. I'm currently running this for my group, and I gotta say we're having a blast. My players were level 2 when we started this. I was getting the RPG crate monthly, and I was running the Tales from the Bloody Bucket, which it's a generic tavern with adventures based around it that you can put in any game world you want or whatever. It's system agnostic. Pardon me, it's early here. It's like barely 8:30, almost 8:40. Pardon me if I blink a lot. My doctor gave me new contacts. They're daily wears. You wear them for a day and you just throw them away. And I hate to be gross, but they're like snot. It's like grabbing a piece of snot and putting it in your eye. They're so flimsy. And it took me 10 minutes to get the left one in, but I finally got it in. But my eyes are burning a little bit, and he said that's the saline solution or whatever they put in there. He said it'll go away in a couple of minutes. So, but I have to say, with these daily wears, I can actually see better than my normal contacts. And I don't know what the difference is, but normally I can't read my phone with my contacts. I have to put reading glasses on, and I have, look, I was prepared. Reading glasses right here. I was ready in case I couldn't read, but I can actually read. The fine print, is a little, probably, I'm not able to read that unless I hold it even then. So, but this isn't a review of my contacts and how to read with them. This is a review of Storm King's Thunder. This released September 6th of this year, and I gotta say, I'm impressed. And it takes a lot to impress me. I'm a grumpy old bastard. I'm cynical as it can be. If my kid falls down and scrapes his knee, I'm like, rub some dirt in it, you'll be all right. I'm just that kind of guy. I've always been that way. Probably will always be that way, and I foresee it getting worse as I get older. My wife calls me a grumpy old man, but she loves me dearly, and I love her. But that being said, I was severely, utterly disappointed with the previous adventures that WotC has done. I felt that they lacked imagination. I felt that they were not laid out well. I felt that, in previous iterations of D&D, and I've played them all from the very beginning up until 5th edition. I was one of the playtesters for 4th edition, as were millions of others. I like WotC's always trying to evolve, always trying to make better product, which is great. That's how companies make money, and I understand that. That's why they put these books out. Everyone's like, oh, another book, I gotta buy. How do you expect them to stay in business? The gaming community, as opposed to all other hobby activities like football, soccer, chess, you name the hobby, they have to continually put out new product for the company to stay in business. And that's what WotC's doing. They're reinventing themselves every so often. 5 editions, well, they've been out for 30 years, so it's not too bad of a time span. I was utterly disappointed in 4th edition. The only thing I liked about 4th edition was the monsters. As a GM, the monsters had flavor. And they kept some of that in 5th edition, but again, I won't get into that rant. That's a rant for a different time. But this, I gotta say, is by far my favorite of all the adventures that WotC's put out right now. I only wish it would have contained a big map of the world, Forgotten Realms. It doesn't. It gives you a little bit of stuff. It gives you a lot of information. The art is top notch. They've kept that same art that they kept in the character in the player's guide and in some of the other books. Spell cards, shameless plug, use them. They're great. The art it's one of the early bad guys that you meet. I don't want to hold pages up too long because I know there are still people out here that haven't picked this up or haven't had the joy of playing through it yet. We are in the first part of the adventure. My group, they just hit 3rd level. They've cleared the town. I won't say of what, because again, I don't want spoilers. But the nice thing is, if you don't know where to go, or you're not sure, you've never done a pre-done adventure, and there's a lot of GMs out there that haven't. I'm one of them. I run my own stuff. I don't like running stuff out of a book. I don't have to flip a book open and reference it. But I've learned from the master, Brian Isaacoff, over at TD 6 Feet in a Random Direction podcast, that published adventures are a godsend if they're well written. This one is well written. But what this one does here is this is a flowchart. And those of us in the business world that have dealt with any kind of business environment or work related stuff know what a flowchart is, and that's exactly what this is. It tells you if your first level characters, you go here. If your fifth level characters, start here, and then you go to this, and you go to the next chart, and yada yada yada. So kudos to WotC and the design team for putting this in here because it's utterly fantastic. I love it. The art, again, like I said, is very top notch. One of the most striking pieces of art here is in the very beginning. The book this is a GM's book. It's not a player's book. This is strictly for the GM to run an adventure of the Frost Giant's Thunder. And so you will definitely get the flavor of this book by reading it. I've given it a once over. I glanced through each section, kind of read the important parts, and then I really read the first chapter that gets your characters from level 1 to level 5 so that they can get into the meat of this adventure. And I've read that quite extensively. I've actually read it like 3 times. I'm one of those guys, I have to retain something. I have to read it over and over and over again. So, because I don't like referencing books. And yeah, I still find myself with my nose in my book. And I don't like GMing that way. But that's just how it is for me. I don't know. I mean, I could probably make some 3x5 cards, but then I'd have my nose in the 3x5 card. So it's the same thing. But this is one of the pieces of art that I find absolutely stunning. Hold that up to the screen there so you can see it. That's 2 giants going at it with the humans down there. And of course, everything around them is desolate because these guys are just tearing it up. Looks like a fire giant and a storm giant. Like I said, the art is just phenomenal. Like I said, laid out really well. Full table of contents. I don't believe there's an index. There is not an index. They go through and they just give you a list of dramatis personae, which I think is all the important people in the game that as a GM you'll need. Even I believe it tells you what page they're on. Again, I got my contacts on, so I can't really read it. But it's really well done. I mean, I can't say enough for the quality of this book as opposed to like Lair of the Dragon Queen or whatever it was, Dragon Queen's Horde or whatever it was, and Tiamat, the Tiamat one. Hello, puppy. There's my dog Wookie. Yes, it gives you the major NPC's name, a description, and the main description, and what chapter you can find them in, and what area they're in. So really well done. Table of contents is laid out really well. So I just had to put that on because I couldn't really read. I could read it if I hold it out at arm's length, and thank God I'm 6 feet. My arms are 3 feet long, so I got monkey arms. It's laid out really well. I can't say that enough. There's a nice introduction, adventure background. They give you some giant runes because your players will run into them. So if they ask, well, what did that rune mean? You know. And I think that's excellent. Cast of characters is another thing. This is all the major giant NPCs that you as the GM will have to wrangle. And I think they lay it out really well, and they do it very, very well. They give you a list of what they're about, what they want to accomplish, what their motives are, what they're trying to do, and it's just phenomenal. So for those of you that don't know, the giants have been complacent in the world of Waterdeep and Neverwinter and all of that, Faerun, and they've been quiet. Everything's been good, but their god all of a sudden just shut up. Clerics, the holy men can't talk to them no more. Nobody hears them, and basically says, "Go out and become great again." How you do that is up to you, but I'm tired of all the squabbling. I'm tired. I don't want to hear from you guys until you're great again. The giants interpret that the way they want. Of course, the fire giants, more military, more warlike. They figure, well, we're going to go out and conquer the world. Storm giants, a little more political, but still on the violent side. Hill giants, big, dumb. They just eat everything they can get their hands on. Hill giant, Frost giants are pretty warlike as well. So you get the gist. They all decide that each giant clan decides that they've got to go out and kick ass and take names in their own specific way and do what they've got to do. And it gives you all those motivations in there for each race of giants. And right now the storm giants are ruling the giant. And pardon me one second, I've got to close this window. That sun coming in was brutal. Hey, Wookie. My doggy's looking at me like, what the hell are you doing, Daddy? So, and it starts out chapter 1, the great upheaval. Okay, lay down, buddy. And it goes on through there. I'm not going to go through each chapter. The book's been out long enough. Those of you that want to get it are going to get it. Those of you that are on the fence, hopefully this video will make you jump the fence. I will say the next awesome piece that they do is Appendix D, Special NPCs. Now, this is class act of WotC. You can see that, hopefully. They're perforated. They're dotted lines. They're not perforated. The point is, WotC gives you permission to cut these out of the book, scan them, photocopy, whatever you're going to do, and hand them out, because there are various sections in this game where the players will have to play these NPCs due to the story requirements, so that the GM doesn't have to do everything. And I think that's gold. Putting vested interest in the players, giving them the motivation for this character to do certain things and to play that character. And what's nice about it is there's a reward for the players. If there's no wrong way to do it, but if they follow a certain path, if they follow the path of that NPC and what their goals and their initiative is, there's a minor reward. I don't want to say anything else other than that. But like Markham Southwell is medium humanoid. He's Tarami human and he's lawful good. His armor class is 17. He's got 58 hit points. Gives you all their stats. Role-playing information. Sheriff Markham of Bryn Shandar is a brawny, likable man of few words. Nothing is more important to him than protecting Icewind Dale. He judges others by their actions, not their words. His ideal, all people deserve to be treated with dignity. His bond, Duvessa is a natural leader, but she needs help. That's my job. His flaw, I bury my emotions and have no interest in small talk. So that right there gives you enough, to play the character. I'm really looking forward to getting into this part of the game because one of my players has never role played before. She's the wife of a guy who is an avid role player, and so she wanted to spend more time with him, and so she picked up this hobby, and she's really, really doing great. I mean, I'm privileged to have her in my game. Her first name's Amanda. I'll leave it at that, and she's great. I mean, she's learning. And she's a nurse by trade, so she has that caring personality. And the only piece of advice I gave her is go read the player's handbook. I mean, learn the rules enough that you can follow along, because right now she's in that mode. And it's like our 5th gaming session, 4th or 5th. By that time, you should start picking up what you're supposed to do if you've read the player's book. She hasn't, and I can tell because she never knows what dice to roll. And I don't know if she's just leaning on her husband because it's a crutch and he's there. But I just politely remind her, hey, do yourself a favor, read the player's handbook. It's going to help you out a lot. And so hopefully she's going to take that to heart. So again, Storm King's Thunder, probably the best adventure they've put out so far for 5th edition. I have all the other ones. I was a fan of Ravenloft, but I didn't like, and this is not a review of Ravenloft, but I didn't like the openness of it. I wanted a more breadcrumb trail, A to B, B to C, C to D, and this gives you that. It kind of tells you if the players do this, go here. If they do that, go here. But they do it in a way that it's not like, you must go there, or the adventure is ruined if you don't do this. They do a good job of it. It's very subtle, and it's, this path goes this way, this path goes this way. It's okay if they wander off, here's how to bring them back. So they do a really good job. So Ravenloft didn't do that. Ravenloft said, hey, in order to defeat Strahd, you've got to find these 3 items. If you don't find them, oh well. And I didn't like that. It just didn't sit with me. Personal preference. I think Ravenloft was a very good adventure. It just wasn't for me. I owned the book. I read it cover to cover, and I enjoyed it. It was a good read. And I was glad to see they brought Strahd back. And it was well done, but it wasn't my cup of tea as far as a GM goes. This is really good. If you're a GM and you like valid direction, that sounds like a weird terminology, but that's what this is. It's valid direction. You feel validated in the choices that you put before your players, and I think when an RPG can do that, when an adventure can do that, it's a good adventure. You may not get the same mileage out of it. Everybody's different. I'm, like I said, pretty cynical and pretty grumpy, and so I if I get a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak, that's it. I'm done. I won't continue. So far, no bad taste. I've read through it once. I'm going to read through it again over the weekend. But I'm very happy with it. But I was in, as a segue now, it's a bonus. I was in my local game store last week, and they had this Storm King's Thunder GM screen. And I was very hesitant to buy it because I bought the other 2 or 3 that are out right now. And I'll just scan through the art here to give you, it's gorgeous art. But WotC's known for doing fantastic art. And then there's I'm kind of looking through, there's the inside of it. Great map, by the way. You're going to need a magnifying glass to kind of go through it. I wish I had a better camera that could really show it off. But I was very hesitant to buy it, but it was $15, and I said, what the hell? I had cash on me at the time, so I bought it. And I'll tell you right now, just for the map alone, because the players have to adventure all over the place. And so, or Forgotten Realms. I said Faerun, didn't I? I think this is Forgotten Realms. I get the worlds mixed up because I don't play in the worlds. I make my own stuff. But I believe this is Forgotten Realms, or it's Faerun. I can't remember. Correct me down in the notes. To me, it's not that important. It's Waterdeep, Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, all those places. Excuse me. I need more coffee. It's too early. The map in here, like I said, it is on a small scale, but it's in the GM screen. But it lays out where the players have to go. Well, it's a map. It doesn't tell you where they've got to go, but all the places where they need to go are on here, and I think it's very well done. It's just a tad bit small. I've got bad eyes, so that's on me. Someone with 20/20 vision probably won't have a problem with this map at all. The other cool stuff that's in it is they have an encounters table for the different areas of it, because there's a lot of different encounters in the Storm King's Thunder. So having that there and not having to flip open the DMG and look for random encounters, gold right there. There's also Giant's Possessions. In the beginning of the Storm King's Thunder book, there's a chart for all the giants carry bags on them. And of course they have random stuff in their bags, and so this is what you get in that bag. So whenever the players take out a giant, if they take out a giant and they decide to loot the bodies, which, come on, they're gonna, you can randomly roll on what's in those bags. Then on the other panel, they have a traveling in the north, which just gives you like weather and distance and how hard it is. Again, another lifesaver, because I don't have to go to the DMG and look it up, because I don't have that stuff memorized. All kinds of stuff in here. And I'm sad. I'm sorry. I gotta put my reading glasses on because I just can't. It's just a little blurry. Lost giant relics, food and water needs per day. That is awesome. Becoming lost, and then weather. So again, those are cool things. And then the center 2 panels of the screen are just the map. And like I said, it's awesome. Also has a scale on the map so that you can give your players rough distance, which will work with the traveling in the north little section here and getting lost. This was $15. Didn't come with anything but this, and of course a little splat page that had some art on it. I was disappointed in all the other ones. I really was. And I did a review on those, and you can go back and watch those. The D&D screen was just pathetic in my opinion. This is worth the bucks. If you're running this adventure, I highly recommend spend the extra $15. I don't know if it's available in PDF, because I know WotC's kind of about PDFs. But if you can find it in PDF, get it in PDF. But if your local game store or Amazon carries it, I bought it at my local game store for $15. It's $14.99. I don't know what the price is on Amazon. Might be a little bit cheaper now since it's been out for a while. But like I said, I think it's awesome. It's official Dungeons and Dragons. Phenomenal art on it. I mean, a lot of the art, it's the art that's in the books. So it's nice to have that facing the players. It kind of sets the mood like, oh crap, we're in for this Giants, which I think is really well done. So that's my ramblings of Storm King's Thunder. Go out and buy it. It's worth it. And if you never run it, at least it's a really good read, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you're a GM that likes running epic tales and putting your players up against heavy opposition, this is the adventure for you. It's going to be tough, and it tells you that's another thing. There's a disclaimer in the beginning of the book that tells you these encounters are tough. You could potentially have a TPK. If your players get stupid and they want to be murder hobos, these are giants. These are not orcs or kobolds. These are giants. They can step on a player and kill them. So be aware as a GM. I'm not opposed to a TPK. If my players do something stupid, I take them out. And I tell everybody that when they play in my games. If you just want to run in the room, kill everything, and try to take their treasure, they're not going to like that. And it makes sense. I mean, I'm not going to have a +2, sword sitting in a goblin treasure hoard. One of the goblin leaders is going to be using that sword. That just, to me, has been a thing that has always griped me about adventures. You find +3 plate mail. Why would +3 plate mail be sitting there? Somebody would be wearing it, And if it's human-sized plate mail, there's orcs, there's kobold, or there's gnolls, there's other humanoid-sized creatures that work with them that would be wearing that armor. And I will put one in the adventure just so he can wear that armor to give the players a challenge. Because if you're going to murder hobo, you damn well better earn what you take. And I strongly believe in that. And so this Storm King's Thunder, right off the bat, tells you that. Don't go in there guns blazing. You'll die. I mean, you better use some thought. I mean, and now the flip side is the GM has to prod the players and point them in the right direction and kind of say, hey, these are your options. Now if they go in guns blazing, then smack them down. Once they go through that first set of characters and they get a TPK, they'll start using a little caution. Even the dumbest of characters will, maybe we shouldn't go in there and kill everything, because we're going to get killed. And I love getting players like that for DCC, because that's a great mentality for DCC, because you'll die. You'll die. If you make it through one of my adventures with that type of attitude in a Dungeon Crawl Classics game, you're the man or the woman. But in this case, they give you a disclaimer in the beginning of the book. TPKs are possible. These are giants. They are not nice. They don't like you. They don't want nothing to do with you. They will kill you. I mean, as soon as you look at them cross-eyed, they will kill you. So be aware, GMs. This is a brutal game. It can be. You can tone it down, of course. As a GM, you have that option. You can give the Giants less hit points, lower their AC a little bit if you want to make it easier for the players, but I would recommend you don't. I recommend you run the adventure as it is, depending on your players, of course. If you've got 3 players, you want to drop it a little bit. If you've got 6 players, you want to up it a little bit. The typical player group is 4 to 5. I've got 4 in my group, and it's working perfectly. So far, they haven't faced anything that they couldn't deal with. And the adventure is so well written that when they get in a situation, there's a situation early on with some orcs that attack, and if it's looking bad for the players, there's a way out. And it worked, but the players were very smart in my game. They thought before they acted, and I probably didn't even need to save them, but I did just to give them an idea of how lethal everything is, and they did well. So. Again, that's my my rant, my review on Storm King's Thunder. Buy it, download it, get it wherever you can, read it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's phenomenal. I think it's really well done. Production quality is a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, because if there would have been a map in here, that would have made it a 10 out of 10. WotC, if anybody from WotC is watching this or sees it, Put maps back in the books. GMs and players love, love, love maps. Put a map in here. Just a nice, 48 by 48 or 32 by 32 map that unfolds from, and we can put it up on a wall, and we can point to it with our laser pointer and our sticks or whatever, our +2 broadswords, and we can show the players where they're going. It is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And we as GMs and players love our maps. So give us our maps back. That was the joy of D&D back in the day. I remember the Dragonlance Saga system. Every box came with at least one map. Some boxes came with 2 maps. And I can tell you the joy of opening up that box. The first thing I did was look for those maps because they were phenomenal. So, WotC, if you're listening, we want our maps back. You'll sell more books if there's maps in here. I know GMs that won't buy a book like this if it doesn't have a map in it. To be honest, I'm one of them. The only reason I bought this is because my players wanted to do this. So I bought it, and I'm glad I did because I was turned off by the other ones. I'm sorry, didn't like them. So anyway, I'm rambling. It's about a 25-minute video. I've got to process this and then upload it. As always, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you're a budding game designer or you're a writer and you want somebody to go over your work or you want an honest review, send it to me. You can contact me through YouTube. Send it to me and I'll be more than happy. I will give you an honest review. If it sucks, I will tell the world it sucks. If it is awesome, I will tell the world it's awesome. It will be an honest review. I pride myself on not being able to be paid off because I have moral and ethics, and I think the world is lacking in a lot of that these days. And I like that, and I like to read game stuff. It's a big hobby of mine. I'm going to do another review of Polaris, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to do a review of that here in a couple minutes after this video uploads. So peace and hair grease. Thank you so much, YouTube. You guys are awesome, and thanks for listening to me ramble.